In the fall leading up to the 2023-2024 Formula One season, it looked as though Mercedes had truly hit rock bottom. Lewis Hamilton had announced he would be leaving the team at the end of 2024, and their car still seemed light years behind Red Bull, and they were at risk of being overtaken by Ferrari in the standings. While this was technically a step forward from their struggles in 2022, Mercedes was still a long way off from returning to championship contending form. As the 2024 season kicked off, it seemed like more of the same. The early races were underwhelming, and Red Bull continued to dominate. But as the season wore on, something started to change. Their car improved, the races became more competitive, and by the end of the season, Mercedes had actually managed to win 4 Grand Prix. So how did they turn things around so quickly, and how have they managed to sustain that upward trajectory well into the 2025 season? Let's start with what I think is the most important piece of the puzzle: personnel changes. The most impactful change came from the return of James Allison to the role of technical director. Allison was the man behind Mercedes' dominant 2017 through 2020 cars, including the W11, arguably the most dominant F1 car ever built. In 2021, he transitioned to a less hands-on role as chief technical officer, where he had less day-to-day involvement in car development. Mike Elliott then stepped in as technical director, and under his leadership, Mercedes endured some of its most difficult seasons in the turbo hybrid era. The root of the team's decline can largely be traced back to the controversial zero pod concept, initially floated by Allison, but fully implemented and championed by Elliott. Unfortunately, this radical design proved to be a massive misstep. The 2022 season was Mercedes' worst in a decade. The car struggled with aerodynamic issues like porpoising, tire overheating, and inconsistent balance, problems that lingered even after abandoning the zero pod in 2023. But the turning point came when Allison returned as technical director in 2023. With him back at the helm, Mercedes was able to finally start tackling the fundamental problems in the car's design and performance philosophy. After the 2023-2024 season, more changes followed. Lewis Hamilton's departure to Ferrari opened a door for a bold and strategic decision, bringing in young Italian phenom Kimi Antonelli. At just 18 years old, Antonelli was already being compared to the likes of Max Verstappen and Lando Norris, with many seeing him as a future superstar. While he's still just developing, some have already believed that he has just as much, if not more, raw potential than George Russell. Another key move was Mercedes' decision to stand by team principal Toto Wolff. Despite rumors swirling that he might be on the hot seat, the team kept faith in his leadership. That decision is already proving to be wise. Wolff's eye for talent, strategic vision, and business acumen have all played a critical role in steering Mercedes back towards the top. The second major factor in Mercedes' resurgence has been logistical superiority and development speed. As part of the Daimler Group, Mercedes has access to resources that few, if any, teams can match. Their deep integration with Mercedes-Benz, AMG, and their own power unit division means they can move with a speed and efficiency that is almost unmatched. In an interview with Mercedes trackside engineer Mark Chauvelin, he explained that during a stretch of 8 races, the team was able to bring 3 to 4 updates to the car at nearly every race weekend. These weren't just cosmetic tweaks, these were a mix of significant mechanical and aerodynamic changes. While mechanical updates often have shorter lead times, combining them with aerodynamic improvements at that frequency is a monumental achievement, and something very few teams can replicate. This logistical advantage allowed Mercedes to iterate rapidly and apply real-time learning throughout the season. Finally, and maybe most crucially, Mercedes focused on refining drivability, one of the biggest complaints from both Hamilton and Russell in 2024. According to Chauvelin, the team put a huge amount of effort into making the W15 more predictable and driver-friendly. This didn't require a total redesign of the car. Instead, it was a series of smart setup changes, targeted upgrades, and more tailored feedback loops with the drivers. And the results were clear. Even on weekends where they weren't the fastest on paper, Mercedes remained competitive in races like Canada, Austria, Silverstone, Spa, and Las Vegas. This newfound consistency gave drivers the confidence to push and extract more performance from the car. All of these changes, technical, structural, strategic, have laid the foundation for what might be another dominant chapter in Mercedes history. If Red Bull continues to plateau, Ferrari can't find consistency, and McLaren loses its recent mechanical edge, Mercedes could very well find themselves at the front, possibly sooner rather than later. With a quick and hungry young driver lineup, a reinvigorated technical department, and the full might of the Daimler Group behind them, Mercedes may not just be back, they may be building the next F1 dynasty heading into 2026 and the new regulations. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, I highly recommend checking out our most popular video on the history of Red Bull racing. See you all in the next one.